The Qabalah Tree of Life.
All right, I'm going to try to explain everything I understand about this from my amateur perspective as fast as I can to keep this video brief. So the purpose of the design of the so-called Qabalah Tree of Life is to attain God realization. The Qabalah Tree of Life is supposed to be a meditation tool for the practical purpose of discovering God as yourself, essentially. So these here are called sephirots, these little spots which you colored in. You did a good job coloring these in. And there's 10 sephirots with an additional 11th one right here. So the word sephirot means emanation. These are emanations, right? And each emanation, each sephirot represents a different stage along the journey. And it's called the Tree of Life because it represents God experiencing itself in physical light form, which is life. And so the Tree of Life is for meditating or concentrating on the different levels of going in the direction of getting to know yourself. And the Qabalah Tree moves down along the journey in a sort of zigzagging kind of pattern from primordial consciousness at the top to the bottom 10th sephirot here at the bottom. So there's a primordial beginning of the universe and then physical individual consciousness. So first off, as the messenger teaches us, in the very beginning of the universe, there was no dimensional form as we know it. No up, no down, no nothing. Only the triple darkness of the dark matter of space. And so physical form as we know it came into being with the first light, which was the first spark, the first atom, right? From the movement in the dark matter. This is the meaning of Genesis chapter 1, verse 2. Darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the water. Spirit is frequency. Water is a current or a wave. So a current or a wave in the dark matter created friction, and from the friction came the first spark, the beginning of the universe, the first atom, the first light. And the word Lucifer is a title that simply means light bearer or carrier of light. Light is consciousness. Lucifer is the light bearer, which is the carrier of consciousness. You carry electricity in the brain. You carry the light. You are Lucifer. You, as the individual person, are consciousness, light in a body or a vessel. So the physical is a lesser form than the dark matter. The dark matter is higher than the physical because the physical has limitations. So Lucifer is God's lower self. Lucifer is God's limited self. The conscious being in physical form is God's lower self, which is the light bearer. God's most highest, purest self is the dark matter. In darkness, you can create your own light rather than be led by another's light. In darkness, you're free to have your own blank canvas to create your own shapes and forms with your own light. Only in darkness is there complete freedom. Light always comes with limitations because light brings about the physical world. The physical world has limitations. So physics comes into being with light. Light is information. Things come into formation by light, in formation, revealing the external world for our perception to the mind. Plants receive information by light to take form, right? So when the darkness of space wanted to experience itself in third dimensional density, it gave itself limitations with light to become an individual conscious sentient being, which is a light bearer, thus becoming physical. So God is within us all. God is the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. That which we call God dwells within me as me, dwells within you as you.
Yeah.
And we all live within God, which is the all. Remember, the universe is mental, the mind is all. So it's all within you. Every living thing is Lucifer because every living thing bears the light within the mind. Visual perception is by light as the external images are reconstructed in the brain with light. The ego, or the sense of self as we know it in the human world, is light. So if you ascribe to any religion, or if you believe in any set of principles, or if you ascribe to any teachings that you follow, you are ascribing to a kind of light, which is Luciferian. Guidance is light. So if you're following any kind of guidance, you're following Lucifer. So all of us are Lucifer. All of us are God experiencing itself in the physical. Lucifer just means a spirit experiencing itself in physical form. Lucifer just means the universe experiencing itself as a third dimensional density individual, right?
Right.
So you are the universe experiencing itself as you right now. I am the universe experiencing itself as me right now. And the more physical something is, the heavier in mass it is, and the more dense it becomes. The more dense something is, the more it sinks down to the bottom, right? So it's the concept of gravitational pull as we know it in the human world. The heavier it is, the lower it is. So when something is a light form, when it becomes physical, it becomes heavier. So it becomes thus lower, right?
Right.
The original primordial darkness of the universe has no physical form, so it's high. So going down the tree from the beginning, from the unmanifest, from out of the darkness comes the tree of life that follows here below. And the tree of life, or we could call the tree of light, shows the universe being itself on the macrocosmic level and then on the microcosmic level. Are you getting it?
I'm getting it.
Right. So the seeker's journey is from the bottom 10th sephirot or 3D material world where we are, where the seeker realizes that they are seeking to then go back up to the crown sephirot of God consciousness, similar to achieving nirvana in Buddhism, to return back home. So each sephirot has its characteristics, names, titles, symbols, representations, qualities, states of being, etc. And the sephirots are often correlated to things like tarot cards, planets, zodiac signs, deities, etc. Okay, so let's go over each of the sephirot. First, we have Keter. Keter, the divine crown, primordial consciousness, the triple darkness of space, the ether, dark matter, home base. Okay?
Okay.
Then we have Hokmah, wisdom, the first movement, friction, causing spark. Here the universe begins on its journey of expansion. Wisdom being discernment, thus means gaining consciousness by movement to form a pattern with organization within such movement, which eventually leads to friction, movement, and thus causes us to come to the next third sephirot over here, which is Bina, understanding, the energy of Saturn, who is the giver of form. Remember we talked about Saturn in lesson 43?
Yeah.
Light consciousness from friction. So the initial spark has now already happened at this point. Thus, consciousness becomes comprehensive understanding as light, which thus leads to physical form. This is the Big Bang. Now we're getting into physical form. Now we have light to work with. Then that brings us to the fourth one, Hesed, over here, right? Love. The attraction to things as a result of light consciousness having come into being, the like or preference of things physical as a result of the potential to craft. The love of crafting leads to more crafting, more building, right? Which is driven by love, right?
Right.
Okay. Then we have Dinah, right? I hope I'm pronouncing these right. I don't know if I am. Judgment. This is the beginning of making wise decisions, calculations, as to what are the best decisions to make regarding, say, the manipulation of physical form, which is driven by love from the previous one, right? Driven by the love to craft from the previous sephirot. Then we come to Tiferet, beauty, balance, integration, miracles. Now the masterpiece of the physical light form expresses itself as something amazing in the beginning stages of completion. Things become integrated with other things, and the miracle of physical light form is manifested. Then next is Niza, eternity. The realm of physical light form realizes itself to be something that is eternal, because even if everything eventually goes back to just dark matter as it was in the beginning, right? The process can still repeat itself all over again. So physical light form can always resurrect. And so because physical light is now in a state of existence, it thus consciously is able to acknowledge itself as being something eternal, something that is forever. Then we have number 8, Had, glory, splendor. Now comes the appreciation for what has been crafted, for what has been built, because this is the stage where the individual conscious mind comes into being, the evolutionary process, Lucifer, the individual person, so to speak. Then number 9, Yesod, foundation. Now the individual mind, Lucifer, begins to build things via construction as we know it in the human 3D material world. So now we're starting to have buildings, machines, civilization here, right?
Right.
Then we come down to number 10, Shekinah, God's presence in the world as a physical being. Enlightenment, Luciferian understanding, coming to the realization that you're God down here having this experience as this. That's what this is. So then there's the eventual journey back up home, which you're going to go through Yesod and Tiferet to Da'at, right? So here we have this 11th sephirot called Da'at. Da'at means knowledge, and it is considered to be a sort of secret additional kind of sephirot, which doesn't usually appear on the tree. And Da'at is the sephirot that takes you back home, right? Back up here. And Da'at not only means knowledge, but Da'at also means death. Da'at is death. So knowledge is in returning back to the dark matter, which is death, right? The Necronomicon is about the dark, unseen, hidden things of the universe, the melanin, the ether, the primordial chaos, the 9 ether, right?
Right.
So when I tell you that my name is Kafsiel, I'm telling you that I'm Lucifer. I'm telling you that I am God in physical light form as a conscious, sentient, individual human. And so is everyone else. Anytime anyone introduces themselves by the name on their birth certificate or driver's license ID, etc., anytime someone says, my name is John, Joe, Jane, Jennifer, etc., they are telling you that they are an individual spirit in physical form, which is Lucifer, the ego, the light bearer, the carrier of consciousness, the sense of individual self, right?
Right.
Don't ever listen to any religious person who will try to tell you that Lucifer is the devil or that Lucifer is something evil. That's not true. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. So the point is, this Qabalah tree is your story of you as God experiencing yourself in physical, material, individual form down here, right?
Right.
And the goal is to get back up here. All right, peace.
Peace.